Namaste,
Nice.
beautiful breathing creators. Brandon Morgan here with Univisions, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Breathwork Podcast. So today we're going to be talking with Chris and Brian Piva. And so before we get into that, let's first start with the affirmation of the day, which the affirmation of the day is with each breath, I connect deeper to the rhythm of life, finding peace and balance within. So I hope you guys are having a good day, and we're going to go ahead and start with Chris. So, Chris Piva, he first worked as a paramedic for 12 years and was diagnosed with PTSD in 2012. He found himself isolating, self medicating, and experiencing anxiety and suicidal ideation. Chris was introduced to the transformative power of yoga by his wife, Mindy, and soon began the journey within. Chris is passionate about sharing the purpose, the power of breathwork with first responders, military members, and anyone who is willing to try. Chris, thanks for coming in here today. If you want to go ahead and speak.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. So to kick things off, Chris, could you share how you first discovered the profound impact of breathwork on your life and what inspired you to become a facilitator?
So it all started with Wim Hof initially, and I got heavy into Wim Hof kind of on my own. And then that was enough to kind of propel me into the Happy Jack community. So I got my yoga teacher training alongside with Brian. And it was my wife, Mindy, that initiated all of it. She just kept on getting better and better at healing from her own PTSD. And I was witness to it, but I rejected it for a long time until I was finally receptive. And I think the first part of each Happy Jack yoga practice is a big pranayama. So about 30 minutes of breathing, all different variations. And I could remember just that feeling I had where I was like, I actually feel alive right now. And I haven't felt this way without relying on some sort of substance or activity, like high adrenaline activity, to feel that well. And that basically started the ball rolling for me. So I kind of just went on this little version of like self-discovery and read lots of books, listened to podcasts, started practicing and experimenting, and here I am.
Yeah, that's inspiring, Chris. That's transformative for sure. I totally understand you there. I'm pretty close with that. So, how do you believe breathwork can help individuals navigate stress and anxiety in their daily lives?
So I have a favorite analogy. So let's say the three of us right now, we all have a brand new puppy, and we show up at the park and we start talking just like we are now. 30 minutes go by, and then I say, "Hey, Brandon, where's your puppy?" And you're like, "Oh shit, my puppy ran over there. He's chasing after the squirrel. He's barking at that lady. Hey, Brian, where's your puppy?" "I don't know. He's doing the same thing, chasing after your puppy, being like these chaotic little puppies." So I say, "Hey guys, next time we show up at this park tomorrow, go out and buy a leash, and then we'll hook our puppies up to a leash." So the next day rolls around, we show up at the park, we all have our puppies on a leash. We start talking again, 30 minutes go by. "Hey Brennan, where's your puppy? Hey Brian, where's your puppy?" And you're like, "Right here, right by my side." So the puppy is our mind, which is very curious, and the leash is our breath. So anytime we harness our mind to our breath, it stays exactly in the present moment and it doesn't wander in the past to create anxiety or depression. It doesn't wander in the future, creating anxiety or depression.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the more present you are, the less your anxiety's going up because that's all just worry about the past or the future, like you said, for sure. Being present. If people could just learn to be present, they would enjoy life more.
Mm-hmm. So to take that analogy one step further, this is like a recent discovery of mine with this tumo breathing, is
Yes.
let's say before we meet at the park, let's say we go on a really, really long walk. So we go and do a 5 mile or a 5K walk with these puppies. We really tire them out. Then we go to the park to have a chat. And when we look down, what's our puppies? What are they going to be doing? They're going to be sleeping. They're going to be exhausted and they're going to be right by our side. So this high intensity breathing, like Wim Hof or Tumo style, it really tires the puppy-like mind, so it can actually just rest and be present and give you that meditative or flow state.
That makes sense. Never really thought of it that way because they call it the monkey mind too. So it's cool. I like how you refer to it as the puppy mind. That's a first I've heard, and it's very true because a lot of people with their mind are so busy all the time that they're not giving it a break. And I like to refer to it as like a computer. Like if you don't sit there and go into your downloads folder and actually delete some of it, you're gonna get overwhelmed with information. Next thing you know, you're gonna be maxed out or else your computer's going to get hot and you got to give it breaks. And our minds are just like a computer. You got to give it breaks.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that too. And
Yeah.
it's those little analogies that help us kind of correlate or understand like the simplicity of our body. Like it's not a complicated thing. It's just we have to get like this kind of basic understanding of how it operates. Then we learn like tools of self-regulation, how to downregulate, how to upregulate, all based on how we want to feel in that moment to moment.
Yeah. And that's how we can regulate that with our breath for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, do you want to go ahead and lead us through two more breaths and we can explore this
Yeah, so
amazing time?
you had asked yeah, you had asked to demonstrate the Muse. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
turn
Yeah.
it on here. So the Muse is so like the analogy I use, so I'll show you. It's set up with Bluetooth, links to your phone through an app. Put it on your head like that. You cinch it tight. And I have another phone here it's basically gonna give us feedback moment to moment with our breath. So let me just start it up here. So
And
the
so, will
the
you
cool analogy,
explain it a little bit?
yeah.
Yeah.
So um, this Muse is much like training wheels for a bicycle when you're learning how to ride a bike. So it basically gives you feedback by measuring brain waves, so like alpha, beta, theta, gamma waves. And the way that it translates is so right now I've picked the rainforest setting. So when my mind, like right now, I bet you this thing, when I turn it on, it's going to be really noisy. So there's lots of rain in this rainforest. It's a little stormy. As soon as I pay attention to my breath, it's going to calm all that noise. It's going to stop the rain. It's going to stop all the wind. And then all of a sudden, birds are going to start chirping. And this really showed me how important my breath was moment to moment. So that breath awareness is really key in regulating which frequencies our brain is actually operating in. So I'll turn it up. You just give me a nod if you can hear it. Is it coming through all right?
Possibly not because I know that Zoom kind of eliminates outside noise.
Okay, let me go like this. Coming in a little better?
No. Zoom eliminates outside noise.
Technical difficulty.
Huh?
Try one more thing. Now on the headphones?
You can't hear the rain or nothing.
Not coming in like no?
No,
So
I've tried to play music through Zoom, and the only way to do it is if you actually are the host and you turn on screen sharing. It's kind of weird because Zoom kind of
okay.
like knocks out all the outside sounds. So if you want to just kind of explain it, and then as we do it, like, and you can say it's now changing. So it's going to be changing from what, beta to gamma? Is that right?
Yeah, so there's one other option. Like how pressed are we for time?
Oh no, we're good. I was just saying that like I know that Zoom is really weird about like the noise canceling is what it's called.
Yeah, so I can actually screen share if you let me. Do you know how to change those
Yeah,
settings?
yeah. Yeah, let me go ahead and see. I have it set to all participants, so you should be able to do it.
Okay,
Yep, we got it.
so there's the Muse there.
Okay, so this is the Muse app.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick mind. So I think it's connecting to Bluetooth right now. Rainforest. So I just have to reconnect it because it was connected with that other phone. Come on, technology, work for us.
Yeah.
Usually it's pretty quick.
Chris, do you think you could share, if you hopped into Instagram, you could just play the video that you've created already? That would give you the example.
Okay, let's do that. Good idea, Brian. Okay, we're giving up on the Muse right now.
Okay.
I'll go with this.
Because you know that'll work.
Yeah, great idea.
Hey,
can you hear it all right, Brandon? It's coming through.
Experiment with the Muse.
Yep.
It's spelled M-U-S-E, and it's a meditation device that syncs with your phone, gives you audio prompts when you're in a flow state, and also gives you audio prompts when you're out of that meditative flow state. So I'm going to show you how it affects heart rate on my wife's Apple Watch, and I'm going to show you how my breath will influence which nervous system I stimulate, whether it's the parasympathetic, which will lower my blood pressure and heart rate, or the sympathetic, which will raise my heart rate and blood pressure. So I don't have a way of measuring blood pressure, but I hope this actually works. So I'm going to show you what my heart rate is right now. So current heart rate, I don't know if you can see it, 71 beats per minute. Oh, 88 beats per minute currently. So I'm going to see if I can lower that heart rate right now with some breaths of change along with the Muse. And when you'll hear the Muse, if I'm in that flow state, there's going to be birds chirping, and when I'm out of that flow state, it's going to get probably rainy and loud with less birds. Let's see what happens.
So what is this breathing technique you're doing right here?
That one I call it's the breath of change. So I can explain it. Yeah, I can explain it after. So you'll hear the birds now.
So that was me stimulating my vagus nerve with pressure, which dropped my heart rate and blood pressure and put me into a flow state. Now that I'm out of it, it's getting louder and it's telling me my mind is less meditative. I'm going to show you how to lower it again, which is a good thing to get rid of anxiety. Another left-sided inhale. So my heart rate went down to, let's see. So my heart rate dropped 10 beats per minute. It went down to 78.
So I'll stop it here,
stimulated that
Brandon, and
vagus
then
nerve.
we'll rejoin.
So there's evidence right there, exactly as it happened, where that breath of change, by inhaling through your left nostril, stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, and exhaling with positive and expiratory pressure through that small triangle stimulates that vagus nerve and puts you into a meditative state. So what's the takeaway? Your breath directly influences your nervous system. Your breath directly influences your thoughts and how we perceive everything. So if you want, experiment with yourself, pick up an Apple Watch or a Muse and have fun, experiment, and find out how to regulate your nervous system so that you can be happy, healthy, and strong. Be well.
So I'll get us off screen sharing here.
Yeah. Wow, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So I've actually been playing with it with variations of breath, and what I've noticed is like you know how you would ask me to do Tumo with the Muse on? It won't
Yeah.
actually make the birds come. So
Okay.
that Tumo breathing is such a stimulant of a breath. It doesn't downregulate it; it upregulates.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there is no birds that come. It's you basically tiring the puppy mind, and then when you start to like do some slow conscious breaths, just bringing awareness to the inhale and exhale, really gentle, that's when the birds start to come like crazy.
Yeah.
So that breath of change. So when Brian and I were kids, we used to always like fuel a bonfire by blowing through like a diamond shape. So we'd make this little square, a diamond, and we go and get the fire burning hot and hot and hot.
Yeah.
So then when I worked as a paramedic, on every ACR form that we filled out after a patient, I would write no patient change, and you'd write like a triangle instead of writing the word change. So the delta is symbolic or represents change. So I call it the breath of change. So it's basically a down regulation breath, stimulates that vagus nerve, extends your exhale, and lowers your blood pressure and heart rate. So like 3 of those breaths, you can actually like, if you do it with enough intensity, you can like vagalate yourself and kind of pass out. So never do it in a car when you're driving or a body of water.
Oh, it makes you get tired and stuff. Yeah.
Well, you drop your blood pressure so much that you can lose consciousness. So do you want
Whenever I'm
to?
going to sleep, I was just going to say that whenever I go to sleep, I do the 4-7-8 breath work method, which is it kind of puts you into a parasympathetic system. It helps you to fall asleep. And, that's how I've done it for the past couple months, actually. Is just, I don't really count really. I just know you just want to breathe out longer than you breathe in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it's all about down regulation, and everybody's lungs, everybody's tidal volume is different. So it really is person to person, this breath work thing. Like it's not a one size fits all. So I think the best way is to experiment with different modalities, and your body will tell you which one resonates with the most. And that's the one that you basically pour energy into and know when to shift your state.
Yeah, and for me, it's definitely the Tumo breath shifts my state the most. I'll tell you that much. Like that, like, because the closest thing to that I've known before I actually was shown that by you, which is kind of awesome because like it kind of surprised me because I just felt like I've experienced all the DMT style breath where I could, and then you all of a sudden come out of left field on a team call in Happy Jack Yoga. You just randomly joined on, and we just all hit it off so well, and you're just like, well, actually, let me show you Tumo breath. I'm like, I want to show, like, let's do it right now. And then I remember I laughed. I laughed the first time because I was just like, I can't believe I actually just felt that experience that I haven't felt in a while because It does. It's one of the things where they call it hit it in the Dr. Joe Dispenza community, where when you hit it is whenever you feel that bliss state. It's like everything around you doesn't matter because you're in permanent bliss. You're just so happy and you just that's why I laugh. Like sometimes I can't control it. I just kind of laugh and it's just because it's just like life's so amazing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're releasing all those feel-good chemicals, all that anandamide. Yeah, very cool. You want to do it?
Yeah.
You want to do a round?
Yeah, let's do a round.
Yeah. So this breath, it originated in the Himalayas. So they're called Tuma monks. And in order to be a Tuma master, hopefully I recall correctly, but they used to dry wool blankets at altitude. So 8+ blankets that were soaking wet in sub-zero temperatures with loincloths on, and they would basically just sit in lotus and start to do this breath, and they would generate enough heat in their intercostal muscles that would actually like radiate and dry these wool blankets. So in order to be a Tuma master, I've heard you have to dry 8 wool blankets at altitude. So it's pretty incredible how you can rewarm your body if you're cold. And it's a cleansing and a purification breath as well. So
Amazing.
the way that I've been doing it is you exhale first with your chin down, and then you take inhales through your nose as you tip your chin to the sky. And you repeat this. We'll do 10 breaths is one cycle. And on our last breath, we're going to fully inhale. We're going to hold our breath. So hold your breath on full lungs. And this is optional. It enhances the experience, but you can flex your perineum and then your abdomen. So if you picture your spine with cerebrospinal fluid, which is like this energized salt water that we're going to charge with our breath, when you clamp the bottom, which is your perineum, then you clamp your abdomen, you're basically driving more pressure with that fluid to massage your brain and your pineal gland. So we're going to hold our breath with the clamps, which are optional. You don't have to do it if you're uncomfortable. And you hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then when you release, that's basically when I feel the pleasantness kind of just surge through my body. So 10 breaths, hold your breath, clench if you'd like, 10 to 15 seconds, release. One round is good, or do you want to do 2 rounds? Or do you want to do 5 rounds?
I mean, I feel like if we do, what about we do 15 breaths and we do 2 rounds? So, because I feel like
Sure.
at 15 is when you really start to, because like that's what I've been doing lately is 15 because that extra 5 breaths, it just feels like it gets a little bit more intensity into it.
Let's do it.
So
Okay,
2 rounds of 15.
let's do it. Okay,
You want to lead
exhale,
it?
chin down. Yeah, let's do it. So
Okay.
exhale, chin down. So fully in.
Fully in. Exhale. 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 Halfway there, fully in.
2 more.
Exhale. Fully in.
Last one. Hold your breath. Clamp your perineum and abdomen if you wish. Hold that pressure. Release in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. And then we'll start with round 2. So exhale, chin down. Inhale. More. Last one. Inhale and hold. Flex your perineum and abdomen. Release in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. So just bring awareness to the sensations in your body. Feel those tingly fingers and toes. Feel that heat in your chest. We'll do nice cleansing inhale. Bring awareness to the tip of your nose. Nice gentle inhale. Feel that cool air calming your mind. With our next exhale, feel that warm conditioned air soften your body. What'd you think?
It's great. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fantastic.
it is. It can be a nice reset too, and that's the thing that earlier I was at the gym, and before I went into the gym I did some Tumo breath. I took off my shoes and socks right there like in the parking lot, but like over towards the side where not everybody was seeing me. I'm not trying to be obnoxious about it, but I like to get grounded, and I like to do my breath work before I go into the gym sometimes out in the sun. And so I'll do 2 rounds, 2 to 3 rounds of 10 to 15 breaths of Tumo, get myself energized, and then go in the gym. And it gets your veins pumping. It gets everything looking nice and firm and fresh. It really does. And so, I mean, that's why I'm saying you can do it any time of the day. You can take a little break. If you're on your computer all day and, let's say you're starting to get a little overwhelmed, just take that, like, what, less than 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to go and just, you can even do it sitting in your computer chair like I just did, or you did. And then you'll come back to your work with a clearer head.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Here's something that I just connected the dots to. So a friend of mine put me onto it, and he kind of connected the dots for me. So, Ryan Knight from Happy Jack Yoga. So him and I were doing Tumo breaths, and when I first started doing this, the first maybe 3 days that I did it, I had this profound response within 10 breaths where I would do my last inhale, I'd hold the pressure, then I'd exhale, and my body would like drift off to the side, and then I'd do like a little bit of seizing and lots of rapid eye movement, and then I'd slowly come back. And I recorded a couple events, and I was like, what is going on here? So I haven't had that experience. It took me about 28 days to have that experience again, and I was like, what is this correlation? So Ryan basically connected the dots and said, this is your, like, so it's based on like your birth, what the lunar cycle was during the date of your birth.
I told him that
I was born in, okay, so it was from you then.
Yeah,
So
it was from me. I actually
from you through Ryan.
Yeah.
So I was born on a full moon, and when I first did that Tumo, it was a full moon. We checked back, and that's why I was so moved with those first 3 days when I was doing it. And then I kind of was like, oh, I guess it just went away. Like the power, I lost the power. But then with this last full moon, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it again. And the power came back. I've been having like crazy trips just by doing 10 or 15. Yeah, it's pretty profound. So, Brandon, thanks for your wisdom, brother. It's incredible.
That's actually Kundalini, or also known as Christ oil. So it has multiple different names. It's the CSF fluid you were just speaking about, but it goes in olden text. It's referred to as Kundalini. The Ida and the Pingala, or Ida and the Pingala, they like are going like this through your chakras, and they go up to your pineal gland. And so what we're doing when we do these bandhas, which are these locks that you were talking about, is you're actually, just like you said, you're cutting it to where the energy shoots up, and then it hits your pineal gland, and that's what happens when you get jerks or you get anything like that. It's actually energy being released, and it's the Kundalini rising up your spine, and that's straight experience right there. So you know what, you can astral project now. Like with time, you if you practice that, doing exactly what you were talking about. Because I got a book. Since we're on the topic of it, check this out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I gotta get that book.
Regeneration.
Okay.
This is actually Kelly Marie Kerr, and so it shows all the different when the moon's in certain cycles. And so like I'll just go to one where I highlighted it myself because I got it about this time. So if you see, I highlighted it when the moon's in my cycle. See
Hmm.
Aquarius 2, and then Aquarius 3, Aquarius 4. During that period of when the moon's in your cycle, you are to abstain from sex. You are to abstain from all things that is basically like that can kill your like alcohol, which that's why I purify myself, you know. I mean, I don't do any of that. I abstain from, it's called semen retention. But just a little, just to evaluate it a little bit, that's what this all is coming down to. And you, if you don't know this breathwork technique, it, in my opinion, I don't know how you would raise it, because this is seriously what raises that. You can sit there and eat vegan all you want and do all that stuff, but if you're not actually working with the energy, working on, you know, getting that weird feeling that happens, like you said, where you're kind of twerking and yeah, you're kind of moving around, that's the energy rising. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then what you can do is you can use yoga nidra, which is what I've been doing. I even created a yoga nidra recently where I incorporated a bit of delving into the astral plane, but just on a very small scale. So it's not too crazy because I kind of assist you leaving your body, but just a little bit, and you kind of see the portal that's in front of you, and then what I have you do is step into it. And with time, if you do this midday, you do the yoga nidra, you'll see it because I've done it. You'll astral project. I mean, I did it just yesterday with my own recording, and it kind of was like I was like, dang, I didn't expect it to be like that. It's only 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
that was the quickest I've ever left my body in a while, because normally it takes like 45 minutes to an hour. But when you do, it's like it can be overwhelming, and it can also be very enjoyable, because it's kind of fun too, because then you can fly around. You know what I mean? You can see your body sitting down there. So now that you're messing around with raising the energy, what you can try is doing yoga nidra after you do the breath work. So the breath work, you know what I mean, and where you feel the little jerks and stuff like that, you're now have that energy kind of activated. And it call it, and then do your thing where you're bringing yourself down into a parasympathetic state, and then listen to
Hmm.
yoga nidra. There's tons of them on YouTube too, focused towards astral projection. And the first time you do it, come back and tell me, and I would love to hear your story, because I'm telling you, have you ever done it before?
I have a little bit, but I didn't know what was happening when it happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the basically the thing that I could describe from those like jerks was, I'm like, pretend you're on a gravel road and there's a pickup truck in front of you. And you want to catch that truck, but no matter how fast you run, you can't catch the truck. It just kept on slipping away in the distance. So I'd love to be able to get in that truck and see where it takes me. And I think that's what you're talking about, is there's some kind of portal that you can hop into and basically explore.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you really understand that we're not just this body. We're not, you know, because yeah, we hear about it a lot, you know, in the spiritual community, and in, you know, people talking in the Happy Jack Yoga community and stuff. But the truth matter is, you'll never know until you actually learn and experience being out of your body. When you're actually or out of your body and you're literally looking down, like let's say I'm sitting here and then I'm in a meditation, and then I do a yoga nidra and I'm just sitting in this chair, and then I astral project. What I usually will end up doing is I'll be over here looking at me sitting right here, and I'm just like, holy crap. That's the first initial kind of like, you know what I mean, you'll get a little stunned, but then what happens is then you just say it's okay, everything's all right, everything's good. And I'm telling you, you can explore and have a lot. You can see what's going on down the road, and then come back and surprise your friends or family. being like, hey, this is going on down the road. Like, no, it's not, but go outside. I just left my body. I've only had that strong of an occurrence like twice, but like one time where I legit like I got out of my body. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go see what's going on down the street. I went and seen some kids playing basketball, and then I came back to my body. And when I got back in there, because it's my ex-wife, she was trying to wake me up. Brandon, I wasn't waking up. It's because I was out of my body. I was down the road. So like she's like trying to wake me up, and I'm just laying there like this. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, no joke. And I'm like, dude, there's people playing basketball down there. She's like, no, there's not. I'm like, I'm telling you, go outside and look. And then she went outside and she looked and she's like, that's freaking crazy. I'm like, I'm
Wow.
telling you, that's how ever since that experience, outside of like the other experience, which was like a year before that, where that one was just like where I got out of my body when I was asleep. But this one was just so intense because it was actually proof that that really just happened because she just went outside and went and looked. So that's why I'm saying that like with time, it's one of the things where you have to keep your body cleansed. You have to be spiritually right with yourself. Um, because if you're not, you could experience some dark stuff because in the astral plane, it's like half awake but half asleep to where you can have dream stuff being there. That's where sometimes people see dream demons and stuff like that. It's their own consciousness. It's their own fears of it that they end up manifesting into their reality while they're in that astral plane. So they
Wow.
say that you want to eliminate them like fears of it and just surrender. That's the basic concept of all this stuff that we've been learning is surrender because you know that you're going to be okay. And then, so if you surrender going into it, your experience will be a lot more enjoyable.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool. I have a story for you guys, quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what?
So I heard a story of this lady that can astral project quite well, and she ended up in Antarctica in a facility, a concrete bunker, and she's explaining this story how she was walking through these hallways, walking past people, and just like scoping it out. And then all of a sudden, this other astral projector, so apparently this government regulated building had these other people that are in tune with this, that are guarding it from astral projectors invading the space. And they went to her and were like, who are you? And she's like, whoa. And she like quickly left and came back to herself. And they were like going after her for a little bit, but then she got back to herself and like came back to conscious.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I imagine there's quite a rabbit hole there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is though is a lot of people they're worried that they might get lost in the astral plane and that kind of stuff. Well, there's a lot of videos you can watch on this too, just so that way you guys know, because I mean, breath work can help you facilitate yourself into going into the astral plane. And so when you're in there, don't be afraid because there's a silver lining. If you're actually out of your body, you'll see it. There's a silver lining connecting your astral body to your actual body that's laying there. So you can go as far as you want, but you're gonna come back like there's a lot of people that try to scare people from doing it, from going in and exploring them kind of realms by saying, "Oh, you can get possessed by a demon or something like that." But that's like there hasn't been any actual cases where people have proved that that's happened. So that's just something I did a little research on myself, and and so like we are connected to our bodies still, and that's where it gets crazy because think about it, when we die, DMT gets activated in our brain. That DMT projects our spirit, our astral body out of our body. We go into that DMT world. But the thing is, because this body dies, now that astral body has no body to come back to. That's my personal theory of because I've done research on it too. But that's what I feel is that's why I've done DMT in my past, and also I've actually activated it by just breath work. And DMT is actually it's in your pineal gland, and you basically convert melatonin into DMT, and that's what happens like through doing the breath work and the rising of the Kundalini. When it hits your pineal gland, it actually decalcifies the pineal gland, and no matter how calcified it could be. That was proven by Dr. Joe Dispenza. He explains that, yeah, you can have a calcified pineal gland, and it'll help a little bit if you do decalcify. But the truth of the matter is when you do this breath, his breath is just that you flex all the bandhas, you hold, and then you release. You flex all the bandhas, you hold, and then you release. And you just keep doing this. That's his breath. And so what you're doing is you're pushing that energy up to the top, and it's going to break through no matter what, even if it is calcified. That's how he explained it. To where some people, they're afraid of, like, well, I'm like 50 years old and I've had all these years of calcification from water and, and all the bad food I've eaten. He says, I mean, that doesn't matter. If you do this breath right, if you work on your breath work and you do it every single day, you can break through that.
Mm-hmm. Wild.
Yeah, I know the mind is it's an amazing thing. I've been studying that before I even got into yoga. Like that's why I think it's cool because I'm getting into yoga now and I'm going into yoga, but with the mindset of I've been studying all the deeper occult, like esoteric teachings and stuff like that for like the past 2.5 years. Like I got book upon books over there of like occult knowledge stuff, and for me it just makes me realize how just amazing this world is, how amazing our minds are, you know what I mean? That we can create all these like vivid pictures and imagery in our minds. Because I used to not have an imagination either. Do you guys do visualization at all?
Uh, like manifestation. So like
Yeah,
I kind of know
yeah.
what I want. I kind of have a direction now in life. I didn't before. I was kind of lost. And when I was lost, that's when I was like at my worst. And now that I know what my purpose is, so like I have direction. So yeah, like and that's the coolest thing is that everything I basically like have envisioned or imagined is now reality. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah. So that is similar, but I'm talking about strengthening your imagination to where you can. There's a thing called the Silva method, and I do that still to this day, pretty much almost every single day. And this book too, The Power of Awareness, it teaches you how to do it as well. You basically close your eyes, you're doing a deep meditation, and it's similar to yoga nidra. You bring yourself down into a really relaxed state, and now you're going to use your mind's eye to create images in your mind. You even create this. I have a lab that I go to if I really need to work on something in my life, and I can picture, like, so you'll bring up, let's say this first mirror will be the problem. You're going to take that problem and turn it into a project. So like, let's say that you're sick and you want to get better. And so what you do is you visualize the problem, you visualize yourself being sick, all the crap it's causing you, and then you basically take that mirror, you move it to the side, which brings it to the past, and you bring up this new mirror, you trace out this mirror. I do it with my hands. I do it like this, like trace out a mirror, and then you bring it in, and now you basically see it on your mind's eye, the solution. And sometimes the solution will come to you, like God will, like God that's within will literally lay out the solution clear as day. Like let's say it'll be that you need to drink some turmeric, and then when you drink this turmeric, bless the water that the turmeric's about to go into, and say that when I drink this, it's going to heal me, and it's going to heal me. Boom! Now you just visualize that in your mind, move that to the side. Now you bring up this next mirror, and this is the resolution. This is you when you're already healed. Now you're going to visualize this is your new reality. This is the truth, not these past two things. The solution, it's already in the works. You see the end result, and now what you do is you basically live it for a little bit in your mind's eye. You see two people being impacted in a positive way because of this thing that you want to get done, and then you basically take all three mirrors in your mind's eye, you push them together, and then you I do this at least with my hands when I do it. You rub your hands together like this, and then you boom, you push it out, and now basically that last mirror that you've seen, that's your new reality, that's your new belief. And then you just meditate a little longer, and that's the basics of the mirror technique, is what they call it.
Wild. Okay, I gotta
Yeah,
check
it's
this
it's
out.
it's pretty expansive. And so, like, for instance, real quick, if you guys want to, it'll take about 2 or 3 minutes. We can go through a little visualization exercise. You want to try it with me?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Because this is one of my favorite things to do too. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a visualization of visualizing certain fruits with your mind's eye, and I'm going to actually talk you through cutting it open, smelling it, putting it out in front of you, and seeing it as vivid as you can. You're gonna be visualizing it as vivid as you can, and then you're gonna squeeze it, and you're gonna feel it running down your arm, and I'm gonna talk you through it in as much detail. And this is how, if you do this every day, this is how you can strengthen your imagination to where you can actually, with your eyes closed, project things onto the screen of your mind.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. So first, let's go ahead and close our eyes, and we'll start with the 3-to-1 method. So inhale, and with each number, you're going to visualize it 3 times in your mind's eye. So inhale, 3, exhale. Inhale, 2. Inhale, 1. You are now in a deeper state of mind, deeper than before. Now I want you to project on your mind's eye, right in front of you, about 5 feet out in front of you, a lime, a beautiful, glistening green lime. Just really see it in as much detail as you can. Look at the texture that's on it. Now grab it with your left hand in your mind's eye. Project a little cutting board right in front of you. Take the lime and set it on the cutting board. Now grab the knife that's right next to the cutting board and cut open the knife. Really feel how it feels to be present as you're cutting this knife. Not focused on anything else, but just this process of this green knife cutting through the green lime. Now that you cut it open, grab one of the peels and bring it to your nose. Take a big whiff of it. Smell its citrus smell. Give it a little lick. Taste the sourness, the sweetness that's making you perk your lips and perk your nose up. Just really feel that sourness. Now go ahead and bring it back onto the cutting board and grab the other half of the lime and hold it out in front of you with your mind's eye. Give it a good squeeze and feel the liquid running down your arm, dripping off of your elbow. Just keep being aware of the colors. See the colors. The green, the yellow pulp, the yellowish whitish pulp, the seeds. As you're squeezing it, the seeds fall to the table. Now just bring it back to you. Now take a little bit of that and bring it to your mouth and take another bite out of it. Taste the sourness. Woo, sour. Now push it back onto the table in your mind's eye. And now this image will disappear in 3, 2, 1. Now place on the screen of your mind an orange. In 3, 2, 1. Now really look at the orange color of the skin. Feel the texture of it. Take your right fingertip and try to push through it. Feel how it feels in your muscles to actually have to push with as much pressure as you can to try to puncture the outside skin of the orange. Go ahead and place it on the table. And now grab your green knife off the table and slice it open. Same method. Go ahead and take a smell of it. Bring it to your nose. The beautiful orange with its citrus hints. It makes your mouth water. It makes you feel hungry. And you're so excited to be able to eat this orange. So go ahead and bring it back out in front of you, hold it out in front of you, give it a good squeeze, and see the orange texture starting to burst out of the side of it as you squeeze, and the liquid runs down your arm and it runs down to your elbow, and it catches onto the table. Now bring a smile to your face for visualizing this, whether you were able to visualize it with clear mind or whether you need to work on your visualization a little bit more. Celebrate it. And now you're going to bring your mind back to just the present moment. Nothing on your mind's eye. In 3, 2, 1. I am now going to count up from 3 to 1. At that moment, you're going to be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1. Coming out slowly now. 2. At the count of 3, you'll be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 3. Eyes wide open, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. So did you see anything on your mind's eye?
I could smell the lime. The lime came through. I was like it happened for like a sliver of a second. I was like, whoa, it was right there.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that's one. So if you do that, and so actually to make it even more incredible, more strong, actually buy a lime. And now because you've done this, go into your kitchen over the next day or two and be as present as you can with this cutting of the lime and cut it open and remember, and so that way you can come back to that exact spot, cut it open exactly the same way, smell it, taste it the exact same way, and now at a later on in the day, come back to that moment, just relive it again. And that is how I've strengthened my visualization to where like I can visualize myself being in the RV, my RV that I'm working on manifesting, stuff like that. Like the guitar, before I even had the guitar, I would sit there and visualize myself playing the guitar. What I mean, and that's how you can actually. This book right here, The Power of Awareness, he explains that our assumptions create our reality, what you assume to be. And so, if you want something in your life but you don't have it, then you're going to constantly not have it until you actually have it first in your mind before you actually have it in real life. So you want to be there, and that's where I do breath work and then I do the visualization meditation. So we've talked on
Beautiful.
some good topics here so far. I'll tell you that much. It's
Yeah.
been pretty awesome.
Do you want to ask Brian about the
Yeah, that's
that
what's
app?
coming up next, actually. So, hey,
Nice.
Brian, you on here?
Yeah.
Could you share with our listeners what about your In Your 20 app?
Sure. I wanted to quickly comment on the visualization first.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Feel free.
Initially, I thought you said a green line. So I had a green line in my mind's eye. And that was interesting to me because I was seeing a green line. And then later when I heard it was a lime, I was like, oh. And it's incredible how your brain can adapt.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite part was when you said to push your finger against the orange. I've been watching a little bit of Invincible lately. So when I pushed my finger into the orange, it went right through it.
Oh yeah.
Like nothing.
Amazing, Brian.
That's amazing. Yeah, seriously.
So when I put it on the table, I had to shake it off my finger because it was stuck.
So cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's thank you for sharing that because it's been a while since I've done active visualization, which is quite a fundamental thing to humans that we like. As a child, I very much manifested a lot of things that I wanted in my life through into my adulthood, and it is a very powerful thing when you have a clear vision in your mind. It does tend to happen.
Yeah.
But onwards and upwards about the topic in hand, in your 20. Do you have any questions about it up front, or would you like me to just explain it?
Yeah, so I was basically just going to ask, so what motivated you to actually develop in your 20 app?
Multiple things, actually. It wasn't a single event or life experience that allowed me a very clear vision for it. There was an interaction with Chris and I's uncle, a very close uncle of ours, that he was very sick with cancer, and in a conversation that I had with him near the end of his life, he was talking about living presently in the present moment, and he called it being in your 20. He's like, well, if I
Oh,
ask you what's your 20, like 1020 military radio 10 code, that means where are you? And he goes, I'm in my 20. Are you in your 20? And it blew my mind. I was like, are you serious? I go, that's genius. Like that, it's such a cool way to explain being in the present moment. So that was a
yeah.
seed that was planted between him and I, and then separately, like through Chris's experiences, him and I talking about life in general, and then and seeing the value in human connection, brother to brother, and then COVID hits. Everyone's in isolation. Everyone's worried about being sick. No one's able to socially interact like we were. Everyone was scared. I was like, we need a way to connect people consciously in the present moment. And that's the fundamental nature of this app. The other thing that happened as well right before COVID is Chris and I did our yoga teacher training with Happy Jack. And one of the favorite experiences that I had through that 200-hour training was the be with exercise, where two people stand face to face with each other in silence, and they just look at each other through, like, staring into each other's eyes. You don't need to make a funny face or laugh or talk or do anything. You just literally look into each other's eyes and soul gaze for an extended period of time. And I don't think out of 30 people there were a set of dry eyes in that room. And it was a very profound experience for me. And I said, how can I bottle the power of that human connection that we just experienced using technology, so that more people can tap into this? And if people are isolated from each other, they can connect in a meaningful way, like never before, like not sending videos to each other or text messages or whatever, connecting in the proper present moment. And that's what we're really trying to evoke and create within the Inner 20 app. You've experienced it.
Awesome.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. Like it was a good time, and I definitely feel like that, um, in person would be even more powerful too. And it was definitely a different experience for sure. I like how, I feel like that maybe if there's a way you could communicate with the person, if you wanted to after or something, that would be kind of cool too. But it is really cool because you just join a call and then you're just, face to face with somebody. And like you said, it's across the world and it is a unique, concept and setup that you have there. So, and also I was going to ask you, so is there a way that you could show your screen or show your face?
Sure.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm just sitting in my
That way
car.
we can just, okay. Okay, yeah. So I got all three of us on here. So yeah, yeah. I mean, these two brothers are here. They've definitely been a really good what do you call it? Change in my life too, because you guys have brought in new breathwork techniques, new styles of breathing. Connecting like you said, eye to eye. I've never done that with somebody else, so that's why I like your app. What I've done is I've done it with myself, and I highly suggest and suggest for anybody that's watching this, try doing it with yourself first, because if you that to me is even more powerful than doing it with somebody else is doing it with yourself in the mirror and doing the breath work with yourself and just because most people they can't look at themselves in the mirror because they don't love who they see. But when you truly see the divinity that's within you, you see the love, you see the light, then you're not afraid of anything in this life because you realize that it's all love. And that's just my personal suggestion is that, definitely do it with other people. But if you want to really grow yourself, learn to be comfortable with the person you see that's in the mirror.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But yeah, the In Your 20 app, it's like I've done it about 3 or 4 times with you, and it's been pretty awesome. So I had another question for you, Brian. So how do you see the technology future supporting the practice and evolution of breathwork in the future regarding your app?
And you're muted.
Oh, I gotta unmute over here. There you go.
Mute. There you go. I think this is going to be a steady evolution. We have the foundation in place. We very consciously chose to have both people in the experience muted because of the background noise. It would distract from the presentness, just to lay the foundation and the expectations that this is what this app's about. And I think in time, I think there is certainly avenues where maybe at the end of the breath work we could unmute so that people can interact, like a timing version of that, where, like you're saying, that people can connect in the present moment, not having to be muted, but still evoking a very present experience. And as we learn these new breathwork modalities and the value of each of them, I just keep putting out new sessions every month, and they tap into all these new life experiences that we're tapping into month to month.
Yeah.
And I found it very fascinating that like there's an analogy that Chris and I often use, which is you can't push a rope. And what I found is there's a lot of people that, like you're saying, are not even comfortable with themselves. So when I suggest, hey, do you want to do breath work with me or with anybody, they're like, not a chance. And it's okay. That's where they're at. And that's what this app isn't for everybody, but it offers an opportunity to grow like no other. And if people are willing to get uncomfortable, it offers incredible values. So when people are ready, I welcome them in.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing like it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely unique. Because I remember the first time I did it was with Happy Jack, and well, he did it in the one of the modules that we were doing where he talks about be with, and then it's funny because soon as after I did that be with where he just has you do it with him, all of a sudden you end up telling me about the app, and then all of a sudden me and you are doing it. So it's like it was funny. He was like, you want just be with me right now, look into my eye, and then all of a sudden next thing you know, you're like, hey, I got this app in your 20. You want to do? And then we were doing it with breath work. I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
evolving.
that's cool.
We don't know where it's gonna be, but it's gonna keep growing.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, breathwork, and it's funny too because it's just now coming out in America, and it's becoming popular, I should say, in the West now. Whereas it's been known as pranayama for like for thousands of years in India, but see, in America, it's known as breathwork, and that's why I still keep it called breathwork. So then that way it's more attractive to the Westerners. I mean, the people that don't know what pranayama is, because if I say pranayama, a lot of people are like, what is that? They don't understand it. But if I say breath work, they're all like, oh, I totally understand that. So I definitely feel that, as technology, moves on, more and more people will understand what pranayama is and not be so afraid of it. Because if I told, especially some of my family, hey, you want to do this pranayama practice, they're going to, because they're Christians or something, they're going to be like, oh, well, that might, go against my religion, even though really it doesn't. So instead, I just say, hey, I want to do this breathwork practice. It's the same thing. But that's the funniest part about it. But
enable by taking away the excuses.
Multiple names for the same thing. Yep, that's what it is. And either way, like, what was it saying? It said, peace is just a breath away. And that's true. You know, I mean, it can take your stress away. That's all. That's all. That's what it does. Like it's your peace is right there. And so many people are just in the rat mind, you know, in the rat race, just like busy, needing to get here, needing to get there, needing to get here, always in a rush. And then all it takes is a couple breaths, and then all that stress just dissolves.
And seeing value in breath, there, like the saying that you were talking about earlier, whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, like it's true. So like people either will see value in it or they'll put limiting beliefs on it and dismiss it. And that's not our path to make them change their mind. It's their choice. And until they're ready, it's just space and grace.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of scripture real quick, it even says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." And to be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. And that's basically the basics of changing your life. You know, I mean, if you have the same personality, you can't change your personal reality. In order to change your personal reality, you got to change your personality. That's why if you looked at like I watched some of my old videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm like, that's a totally different me. I was vaping, I was all speedy on a bunch of like stimulants. You know what I mean? I'm like, I really did become a completely different person, and that's the truth right there is that the old you has to die if you want to become a new version of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, Brandon. Well, it's nice to meet the new version.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very grateful. Yeah, exactly. It's really incredible, honestly, because I'm a lot. I used to think that all the stimulants, just to tell everybody that could be watching this podcast, because the little background story is that like I thought that I needed stimulants to be able to go about my day. Every single day I would wake up, I had to have my medicine, which was Vyvanse. I had to take one or two energy drinks. And then I had to take pre-workout later on, and then I had to take another energy drink to be able to even just do my regular day. And I was all speedy everywhere. I was busy, 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 but wasn't productive. And so what I've learned is as I've actually eliminated all that, and instead I go into ice baths, I do breath work, I eat vegan, I eat right, I do yoga nidra halfway through the day if I need a reset. And now I have so much concentration and so much more like drive and to do my task that I'm able to create just as much content as I was before, and now it's more like productive content. It's not just, because I used to spend too much time on each one trying to make it so perfect because that's what Vyvanse makes you kind of like want to focus and get things done. So that's why I just want to be that voice to tell anybody that no matter what it is, you can change your life, but you got to really realize that it's going to be hard at first because it was at first. The first couple days, like maybe a week, I was very drained of energy, but I kept saying I really want this for myself. I want this for myself. And because I wanted that for myself, bad enough, every time I started to feel like I needed energy, I would do breath work and it worked. And I purged myself of all the old me. And that's just my suggestion is that reflect, anybody that's watching this, reflect on who you want to become and start deciding what do I need to change about myself so that I can be more like the person I want to become.
Everything you need is already within you.
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Or I am so happy I can't stop smiling. Because everybody who's a Happy Jack Yoga community person knows that. That's one of my favorite quotes too, though.
Well, the other one is nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
What is it?
Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And before we conclude, let's explore a common myth that's about breath work, that it's merely about deep breathing. What do you guys think? Is it just deep breathing?
No.
What is breath work to you?
My favorite part about breath work is this thing called Anapanasati yoga, and it translates to breath awareness. So the more attention you focus on your breath and the more awareness that you have related to how your breath can adjust your state, the more choice you have moment to moment. So when you're upregulated, you want to downregulate, you just slow it down. When you're downregulated, you want to upregulate, you just speed it up. And it's like the throttle of your car. You want to go fast, accelerate. You want to go slow, hit the brake. And it's that easy, but it takes practice to get to that point. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you're new to this breathwork thing, do your research, watch videos, and in order to go from belief to knowing, you have to go through experience. So you have to do the experience in order to get to the knowing part. And be patient because it takes time.
Yeah. Repetition.
Well said.
What about you, Brian?
I think for me, one of the biggest struggles in my life was my reactivity. I was the youngest of three brothers and always was on the shitty end of a stick, let's say, for a little bit there. And it bled into my adulthood and into my interactions at work and my entire being, where I just thought everyone was trying to get me. And through this process of the yoga journey and integrating more and more breath work into my life, it has given me the space to be able to assess before I react and respond accordingly. And that has been the absolute biggest gift for me.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That is beautiful.
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, give her.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, for me, I mean, it's kind of both you guys nailed it for real. Like, definitely being able to respond instead of react, because it comes off of your mat and off of your meditation cushion into your real life. Because like at first you used to be able to react to everything. If somebody would cut you off or something like that, somebody would call you a name or something, and you would just you just get mad, and it's almost like you would burst. All of a sudden, you give all your energy to them. But now, because you have taken that time out of your day every single day to be able to take your time and just reset your mind, you're a lot more clear-headed. To where now, when you go about in your real life and somebody tries to do something like that, you see it as, oh, I'm not gonna let them steal my joy. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm happy, and then it's no big deal. And so I definitely agree with that. And I would say that breath work for me is definitely more than just deep breathing, because let me just say that I wasn't into the deep breathing up until literally about 2 months ago. And I've been doing breath work for about 2 years. So that should say something. Whoever came up with that myth that deep breathing is all that breath work is, they haven't tried Americanized breath work, I should say. Because that, they on YouTube, they call it DMT breathing. And I showed some of it to Brian, and I know you said you really liked it a lot. But if you guys are interested in learning more about the style I'm talking about, you just search breathwork beats or else breathe with Sandy. Them are the two coaches that changed my life the most when it comes to breathwork, my breathwork journey, because they actually structure it in a way where it's like sometimes it's only 3 to 5 rounds, and it's about maybe 30 breaths of the Wim Hof method or 30 breaths of alkaline breathing, but they structure it in a way to where it's a journey. It's like it's a ride. And so it's maybe about 8 to 10 minutes. I've even created a video myself of doing that style of breath work. And it's more of meant to be a journey. So you do this build up. So you're doing the breath work, and then it'll say double speed. And then you go double speed. And then they'll say triple speed. And you even go faster. And then it'll say big inhale. And they'll talk it too, saying squeeze your perineum, squeeze your lower abdominals, send the energy up, and then you release. And then they play music, and they'll say stuff like, forget who you are, forget your name, just be here now, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future. And so for me, that breath work was life changing. And it still is. To this day, I do it every single day. I do one of their videos every single day just because I like the structure of following along with that, to where the music's going, and it's kind of like they always have different music. And that's why I got a guitar now, and my plan is to make some guitar rhythms and have it with the breath work too and stuff like that. because honestly, it's like I feel like breath work is still in its baby stages in the West. And that's why, a lot of people they have a misinterpretation of what breath work is. And so a lot of people don't want to mess with it because they just think it's like it's boring or something like that. But the way that it can be created is into a journey, and that's where like now that I'm as I'm keep getting my yoga certification and stuff like that, like yoga nidra, my plan is to incorporate breath work, then go into a yoga nidra session. So like it would be a yoga nidra breath work video, so like you would have maybe about 5 to 7 minutes worth of breath work at the beginning, like you said, to activate that or the sympathetic, so then that way that you can do parasympathetic after, so then that way that you'll be completely relaxed. You do the breath of fire. All that breath of fire is forget the name. They call it something different in
Kapalabhati.
pranayama, but that's what is it called?
Kapalabhati.
Yeah, Kabbalah. Yeah, Kabbalah Dati. Yeah, see, I'm still new on the pranayama terms, but so like I'm gonna structure it to where it's like you do the breath work, and then once you got all that, your mind is completely cleared of all thoughts. You're just focused on the here and now. Then we're gonna move into the body awareness, and then from the body awareness, we're gonna move into an astral projection, and that's what I'm planning on maybe making about a 45-minute, hour long, like it's just going to be a journey. It's meant to be able to take you through it. That's the one that I'm working on a little bit. That'll probably take about a month to 2 months because I'm gonna make this one of my best ones yet. So, but yeah, that's my basic breakdown of about deep about the myth of deep breathing. It's definitely not just deep breathing because until I actually started learning about pranayama. I've seen it on YouTube, the 478 method and all that stuff, but honestly, I didn't care because at the time, what was I doing? I was on stimulants. I wanted something to be able to give me more of that rush. I wanted something to be able to give me energy. That's all I was focused on. To the point where I even made my lock screen say, let's see if I can show you guys. I was gonna say, I just want to show you guys like this is what I had to do to change my paradigm. See if it'll. No need for speed.
Amazing.
Yeah, see, it says don't be busy, be productive. No need for speed. Because the old me, that was the old way it used to be. I like speed. But no, it's all about being productive and being in the moment.
I had two sport
Brandon,
bikes.
yeah. Thanks for having us on your show, man. That was fun.
But yeah. Yeah, I've had a great time. I thank you guys so much for showing up for sure. It's been amazing. And so Brian, I really love your app too, and I feel that we all three can really do some good collaborations together with our minds of how we all three love breathwork so much. So we can definitely maybe collab on some kind of video or something like that soon. And so yeah, and that's a wrap for today's episode of Univision's Breathwork Podcast. I'd like to extend my gratitude to our amazing guests, Chris Piva and Brian Piva, for sharing their insights and expertise. Remember, your breath is a powerful tool for transformation and self discovery. Until next time, breathe consciously and live vibrantly. Namaste.
Namaste, brothers.
Namaste.
Namaste, guys. Thank you.